It is January, it's cold, the lawns are dormant, and I'm spraying my winter pre-emergent right now. I've done lawn care, turf management for over 15 years now, and I've seen tons of mistakes that people make when they're applying pre-emergent. So it got me thinking about the top 10 pre-emergent mistakes that people make. Now, this is mostly geared to companies and lawn care technicians that apply pre-emergent products in lawns. Um, so just follow along with me here. I'm going to name out the top 10 pre-emergent mistakes that I've seen over the years. And if you can avoid these mistakes, you'll get great coverage, you'll get excellent weed control. So without further ado, let's get started. The number one pre-emergent mistake that most people make is not watering in their pre-emergent. Whether it's granular or liquid, all pre-emergent needs to be watered in. Pre-emergent works from the soil level, so if you don't water it in, it just kind of sticks to the grass blades. Now, with rainfall over time, it will eventually make its way down to the soil. But for best results, turn your irrigation on, even in the wintertime. Water this product in so it gets down to the soil level. Again, it will eventually make its way down to the soil. If you live in a rainy, wintry season, it will eventually make its way down in there. But the longer the pre-emergent sits without getting watered in, it becomes less effective. The second mistake that a lot of people make is not reading the label and the mixing rates. You must read the label of all the products that you use to mix. Most products have a low rate, a middle rate, and a high rate. That's up to you which one of those rates you want to use. I usually just stick to the middle rate. But you have to read the label, mix these products correctly. You don't want to put out too much product or not enough product. You'll just end up getting bad results. Usually you'll be safe if you just stick to that mid-rate label. Mistake number three that most people make is not agitating your tank and bleeding that hose back through your tank. Agitation is key when mixing products. If you let your product sit overnight, if you have some left over from the previous day, the first thing you need to do that morning before you get to work is what you see here. Just grab your hose, spray that product that's been sitting in your hose all night long back into the tank. It only takes a minute, and it's just great for agitation. It gets all that settled product back into the tank and all mixed up. Mistake number four is walking too fast in someone's yard. Obviously, you have to walk while you're spraying pre-emergent. If you walk too fast, you're not applying enough product. Don't get in a hurry. At the same time, this brings me to my next step, number five, which is walking too slow. So you get the picture here. Walking speed is very important when you're spraying pre-emergent. Also, if you're applying granular pre-emergent with a granular spreader. If you walk too fast, you're not applying enough. If you walk too slow, you're applying too much, possibly damaging the turf, especially if you have post-emergent mixed in there. If you're walking too slow, you're applying way too much post-emergent, which if you're spraying in the fall when the grass is still green, you're going to get some chemical burn, some tip burn, which is what we call it. So be very careful. Just get an average walking speed, not too fast, not too slow, somewhere in the middle, and that should be good as far as your walking speed is concerned. Mistake number six is applying pre-emergent on a lawn with compacted, hard soil or lawns that are extremely thin. Now, this isn't necessarily a mistake. You can still apply pre-emergent to lawns like this, but communication is important. Make sure that you communicate with your customer that their lawn is extremely thin, which means that the sunlight is going to break down that pre-emergent quicker. Another suggestion is to not spray pre-emergent on lawns like this that you see with standing water. If you spray pre-emergent directly in these puddles of water, it's just going to get diluted. It's not going to be effective at all. Also, another tip, do not spray in the rain. Although pre-emergent does need to be watered in, it's not a good look for you if you're out in the middle of a rainstorm spraying pre-emergent. Mistake number 7, applying pre-emergent on top of leaves. Now this particular yard here is really not that bad, but in the middle of the fall or in late fall, if you get to a yard that is just completely covered in leaves, don't waste your time because you're also wasting your product. If you end up spraying on top of leaves, it's pretty obvious that product is just going to sit on top of the leaves and never make its way down into the soil. So communicate with your customers, see if they can get those leaves up, and you'll get back to them. Mistake number 8, applying your pre-emergent too close to a water source like a stream, ponds, lakes. I will even include storm drains into this. You need to stay several feet away from any type of water source because of water runoff. This includes using granular products as well. If you end up accidentally dumping a big load of fertilizer down right in front of a storm drain, guess what? That's going to end up in some type of lake, pond, stream. So you have to be very careful when applying pre-emergents or fertilizers or any products around storm drains. Also, just like this video here that you're seeing, there's a French drain. Be careful applying too much product around that as well. Mistake number 9 is applying your products too close to the shrub line. You have to be careful, especially when you have post-emergent mixed up. If you get any product on the leaves of shrubs, bushes, trees, it's going to kill the leaves. Now, it's probably not going to kill the whole bush, but they are going to have some damage where the post-emergent kind of blew into the side of the bush there. So be very careful when applying along shrub lines like you see here. The last mistake I see so many people making is not wearing proper PPE. Make sure you are wearing gloves, boots, long pants, long sleeves. I know our summers can get really hot. Just get you some really thin, moisture wicking shirts. Make sure your skin is covered up and don't break that rule of not wearing your proper PPE.